Hey everyone, it's Sheryl Baker with your passport to travel. And in these difficult times of being housebound, I wanted to actually start a series of travel talks with you because even though we can't travel right now, there will be a time when we can travel again. And so I wanted to share with you my favorite trips that I've taken over the years. And this first travel talk is going to be about South Africa. I've been to 73 countries, and South Africa is the number one country that I love. It is so full of different adventures from every tip, from the tip of the Africa at the top all the way down to the Cape of Good Horn at the very bottom of South Africa. I've been 6 times, 4 times on safari, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and 1 time to Morocco. And again to Uganda and Rwanda, where I got to track mountain gorillas, chimpanzees, and golden monkeys, which again is another amazing adventure, but not the one we're going to talk about today. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is actually the southern part of Africa. South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana. Those are the countries that I think are the best for safari viewing and just a great way to start. If you've never been to Africa, I always recommend that my clients actually do this first little trip. And then you can spread out. Like I said, there's so many things to do in Africa. So my perfect first trip, or trip for first time people going to Africa, would be to fly into Johannesburg and then go over to Kruger or Sabi Sands. To me, those are the best locations to go on safari. Then from there, fly up to Victoria Falls, because if you're that close, you need to go visit one of the 7 wonders of the world. And Victoria Falls is amazing. Now, there's different times to visit Victoria Falls. Of course, there's the rainy season where the falls are just thundering. And then there's the dry season where their falls are trickling. But either way, it is an amazing view to see the water, and if you get a chance to also take a helicopter over the falls and the Zimbabwe River. So let's start first of all when you fly into Johannesburg. Honestly, in Johannesburg, 1 night is plenty. If you want to see the city, 2 nights, you can see most of the city, and there are things to see. Soweto and the museums there are very interesting. But once you come to Africa, I think you really want to get into the real Africa, which I consider the safaris, and then Cape Town. So we would come in, spend the night there, and then from there, our guides would pick us up. We would fly into Kruger National Park. And from there, when you get off the plane, it is amazing. You're out in the middle of nowhere, and you have this Jeep picking you up with your game warden, who will be with you the whole time you're there. The airport is like none other you've ever seen. Literally, baggage claim is a hut with your bags stuck on there, and you just grab them off and go. Nobody checks, nobody does anything. But it's a nice little airport. Definitely something worth seeing. And once you get out onto the actual game lodges, you will see that their airports are even. They're basically a bucket of sand and a shovel, but that's another story. So once you get picked up, most of my clients are so surprised that just from the airport all the way back to the game lodge, which can be 20 to 40 minutes, they see animals already. They're always so surprised. You're going to see giraffes and elephants and zebras, and just in the game ride, grain drive from the airport to the lodge, and they just look at me in amazement and say, "Oh my God, I didn't know we were going to see animals right away." That is just the tip of the iceberg, and that's what I love about Africa. Around every corner, you will see something different. So from there, you check into your lodge. And when we say a lodge, we're not talking about a tent in the middle of the thing. We're talking about beautiful rooms and amazing food and swimming pool. And you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're sharing the swimming pool area with all sorts of wild animals. So it's pretty unique experience. Usually when we arrive in mid-afternoon and we go out on the game drive the very first night. Again, an eye-opener. And I don't want to spoil all the fun, but you will see things that you've never seen before. And there will be nothing like it ever in your life after you go on a safari. It's just hard to comprehend. So when you're at the game lodge, you have a couple of options. First of all, we're going to go on 2 game drives a day. One being, usually you get up at 5 in the morning, go have your coffee, jump in the Jeep, and you head out for about 3 hours. Then you come back, you take a nap, you read a book, you lay by the pool, you do whatever you want. 4 o'clock, well, then you have lunch when you come back. Well, actually, no. When you come back, you're eating breakfast. You eat all the time on safari. When you come back, you have breakfast, and then you go rest, and then you come up and have lunch at about noon, and then you go rest, and then you come up at about 4 and you have tea with snacks and food, and then you go out on your game drive from about 5 to 8. Then you come back and you eat. And then you go to bed and you start it all over again. I recommend 3 to 4 nights at a lodge, and then if you can, go to another lodge and stay there so you can actually get an idea of and see different things in different areas. After you've been out on safari about 4 days, that's when you then fly in this little airport, from this little airport up to Victoria Falls, which again is a whole different area, different grasses, different trees, different everything. That's why I love people to go up. And then while you're there, you get to take a tour of Victoria Falls. You can we'll take a boat on the Zambezi River, and their beer is called the Zambezi, so we like to drink a Zambezi on the Zambezi. One of my favorite things to do up there is to take a 1-day trip into Botswana, which you're going into a different country, but it's a 1-day safari literally on the Chobe River, which to me is amazing. You will see hundreds of elephants, hundreds of what you think are bumps in boulders in the Zambezi River that turn out to be hippopotamuses. Lots of hippopotamuses. You don't realize they are until one raises its head and you see its pink face where the rest of the body is covered in mud. But the elephants come right down to the river. The giraffes, you're right there with them. So I love a day trip into the Chobe and on the Chobe River. Then, of course, if you get a chance, take a helicopter ride over the Victoria Falls in the Zambezi River, and you can literally see elephants swimming across the river, different things going on. So that's a true experience. From there, we would fly down to Cape Town. Now, Cape Town is a big city, but there's so many things to do in that area. Of course, one of the big things is to go to the wine country. Frankenstein, and there's 2 different ones that I love to go to. Visit the wineries. South African wine is amazing. Then we would take a day trip down to the Cape of Good Hope and around the tip to the Penguin Islands, which are wonderful. You've never seen so many penguins in your life. Right there. You just walk among them on the boardwalks, and they are so fun to watch. Then you would actually, believe it or not, last time we were there, we saw an ostrich family with 3 baby ostriches, which was really amazing. When you're down there, you're not actually seeing a lot of wild animals. What you're going to see are birds, amazing birds. You're going to see, if it's the season, you're going to see whales playing out in the water. But the scenery is just spectacular. When you get back to Cape Town, we'll take a half a day trip up to Tabletop Mountain. Again, spectacular scenery. What we have to wait on that one is if the wind's too high or too heavy, we can't take the funicular up to the top because they close it down, and you have to wait till perfect weather. But when you get up there, oh, it's just so stunningly beautiful. You're going to see the 12 Apostles, which are the mountains that go along the Cape Road. And then if you like history, a trip over to Robben Island is a must. A lot of the tour guides there were actually imprisoned there. And I was very honored that last time I was there in October, Nelson Mandela's guard, but also who became a good friend, was actually doing a private tour. And I was able to talk to him and have him sign a book that he wrote about his and Nelson Mandela's life that was amazing. So that was just an added bonus. And then back in Cape Town, you have the VA Waterfront, which is just like a very upgraded mall, outdoor mall, but just wonderful to sit and watch the people, watch the boats come in and out. They have an amazing aquarium. They have a restaurant called Gold that we would go to, where you were actually immersed in the African culture for the night, which again is spectacular. So after all that, we would fly home and really have, you would have had a trip of a lifetime, gone to places you would have never gone and probably will never go again, and see animals in their natural habitat that are literally closer than 2 or 3 feet from you. Just amazing. There's nothing like it. And so I hope that you've enjoyed this talk. I'm going to include some pictures and videos, and so that you can actually see what we got to see. Stay safe, stay inside, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Lisa, what do you think?
Jaw-dropping. Draw-dropping.
And how is the safari going for you?
Beyond A+. Okay.
I cannot say enough about this. It is beyond.
Yes,
What do you think about this?
this is unbelievable.
Have you had a good morning?
Absolutely.
So what did you think when you drove up and saw breakfast served out in the bush for you?
Thought I was in a dream.